So, my dear brothers and sisters in Nigeria, of Micah, this is your fundamental link with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and with the prophets. Those 5 breaks every day from the world soothe your soul, reframe your daily activities. They change your mood. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, when he saw somebody angry, he'd say, go do wudu, because water soothes, and changing your posture soothes and changes your mood of anger. Prayer is very important, and I cannot emphasize it enough. You have one master and no other. Visit him 5 times a day in earnest. So that was my first dedication, really, is to get my prayers correctly and to add more to them. The second initiative that I undertook was to read and study the Quran and the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, or his biography, who he was. Reading the Quran is extremely significant. As you saw from some of the verses that had to do with prayer, it comes with, the book and reading the Quran, understanding the Quran. Make a commitment to read or to listen to it, or both. Struggle to understand its meanings. When I started this journey quite early on, it took me 1 year to read the Quran in full with commentary. And maybe not everybody can do this, or everybody's interested in doing this, but you asked me today to speak about what would revive you. And this is a very big part of it. As I mentioned, you and I and all Muslims around the world fasting in Ramadan are bearing witness to the revelation of the Quran, and to its beauty and to its peace and to the discernment that it gives us. The way it teaches us what is right and what is wrong, and how we can use our own reason in the correct ways. Okay? So reading the Quran is an incredible responsibility. Its lessons don't only come in its ahkam, which we're used to hearing, which are the rulings. A lot of people are focused on that, but that's a very small part of the Quran. The Quran is extensive. It has beautiful content and style and rhythm, and all of this together really will impact who you are and will penetrate you in very unique ways. Not everybody's going to have the same experience with the Quran. Not everybody's going to draw the same lessons from the Quran. It depends on where you're coming from in your life, what issues you may have, what solutions you're looking for. So it's going to differ. And this is where, it's good. You may rely on people to help you understand the message of the Quran, but you must also read it for yourself. The Rasul, as we know from what Sayyida Aisha told us, was a walking Quran. This meant that he internalized the meanings in everything he did. Every time there was a revelation, it became a part of him. And there's no reason why all of us cannot be walking Qurans. We just need to study it, and we need to practice it. And we need to understand, on the topic of the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam and the importance of reading his seerah in parallel, is to know who he was. One of the main problems with a lot of misinformation is we don't know our prophet. We don't know him well enough. And so we're very vulnerable sometimes to believe things that just don't make sense. When we hear something about him, there's 3 main questions you have to ask yourself. And these are, does this conform to the Quran? Because he was a walking Quran. So nothing he's going to say or do is going to be far from that meaning. Number 2, does this conform to his character that was very merciful? The Quran says, we have not sent you except as a mercy to the worlds. And finally, does it conform to the actual events of his life? Was this something that we saw him do? Is this something that he lived? So these are very important things, and they draw our attention to the fact that in reading the Quran, we also have to study the life of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. The Quran is our light, and he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, was its brightest bearer. This knowledge will certainly be part of your revival. The third thing that I began to realize, and you might think that this was obvious from the beginning, which is the deeper meaning of Tawheed, or of La ilaha illallah. We start with La ilaha illallah. There is no God but God. There is no deity but Allah. But we don't realize sometimes that this has a very deep and complex meaning. It's not just a statement that we say to demonstrate that we are Muslim. You know, I believe in one God. Well, what does that mean? You know, what does this unity mean? One God. It means unity in the universe and in His creation. It means that we are all intricately interdependent. You know, the very first surah that was revealed, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق. Read in the name of your Lord that created man or humans, al-insan, humans, people, from something that clings or that has attachment. So from our very inception, we are attached, we are dependent on something. We are dependent on each other. And keeping these relationships solid and performing our duties within these relationships is very important in terms of the meaning of actualizing Tawheed, bringing Tawheed to life.